Google Earth gives us the ability to explore our planet from the comfort of our own homes. But there are still places that we're not allowed to look at, with Google even going to the extent of blurring these places out. Here are 15 places that Google Earth is hiding from you. Our first entry is a large area in northern Tibet. In good old Tibet, just north of the absolutely beautiful mountainous region of Mapam Yumco, lies Lake Manasarovar. It's also known as Swan Rinpoche. It is a picturesque area surrounded by mountains and populated by local wildlife. The lake itself is a sight to behold, being one of the few high-elevation freshwater lakes in the world. If you want to see it though, you have to visit the place yourself, because for some strange reason, the lake and a large area around it is grayed out on Google Earth. No one really knows the reason why, and although the lake is sacred to 4 religions, including Buddhism and Hinduism, that shouldn't be enough reason to guard it from prying eyes. It's more probable that the Chinese government is trying to hide something. Maybe a secret research facility? Our next entry is another area in Tibet. Another one, and this time it's an area west of HILLTOP, Tibet. Basically a staging point for tourists waiting to venture into the mountains and for religious pilgrims who consider the surrounding area sacred. By looking at the surrounding topography, nothing should be here except mountains, which makes it highly suspicious why it's grayed out. No one may truly know what's in the area until Google decides to finally uncover it. Or someone else does. Our next entry is Fort de Bragançon. This fort is a medieval fortress located 115 feet above sea level on an islet off the French Riviera, connected by a short causeway to the mainland, in the commune of Bourmes-les-Mimosas in the Var department of the province Alpes-Côte d'Azur region. It has been the official retreat of the President of the French Republic since 1968. Being a hideout for the French leader, it only seems natural for Google to blur out its image on Google Earth. The White House itself is also blurred out. That was until Google decided to have it uncensored. Also, the fort is basically just a vacation house. Surely nothing there requires censorship. Or is there? Our next entry is a mysterious hilltop on LEROS, Greece. Greece is an ancient country that is full of history. Apparently, it's also full of mystery, electing to hide certain areas of the country from prying eyes, especially on Google Earth. Why they do so isn't so much of a mystery though. Many countries ask Google to censor certain areas within their borders for security reasons. Greece is no exception. In fact, all of Greece's airports can't be seen on Google Earth. This, for the most part, does make sense. However, there is a blurred out area in Greece for seemingly no reason whatsoever. A hilltop located on LEROS is mysteriously blurred out. Nothing indicates that there is something of national importance there. On all indications, there's nothing special there at all except for a church dedicated to Saint Minos, the patron saint of Heraklion. No one really knows why this area is censored. Well, maybe except for the Greek government, of course. Our next entry is Blacked Out Islands in Mexico. The triangulous chain of islands located in Campeche Bank, Mexico, seems to be of no significance whatsoever. That's why it's puzzling why they, along with the nearby Obispo chain of islands, are completely blacked out on Google Earth. From what little I've actually gathered, the area is rich in sea life thanks to the amazing coral reefs that dot the area. There is a lighthouse there, and I can't find any documentation whether the islands have residents, permanent or otherwise. This lack of info only adds to the mystery as to why Google decided that these islands should be censored. Our next entry is ULAK Island, Alaska. ULAK Island is part of the Aleutian group of islands located at the Bering Sea, Alaska. These group of islands form a crescent shape and are owned partly by the US and partly by Russia. One of these islands, called ULAK Island, looks a bit weird on Google Earth. It isn't exactly blurred, nor is it blacked out, but it kinda looks like different topography was superimposed over it, as if it was trying to hide it behind something. It really wasn't expertly done as well, and the alteration looks really obvious. The question is, why? The area was previously used by the US as a site for nuclear tests, particularly underground nuclear explosions. Some of the more infamous projects are Project Longshot, Milro, and Kaneken. However, these tests were conducted in nearby Amchitka Island and not ULAK. Hence the question why somebody plastered different topography over ULAK Island still remains unanswered. Our next entry is Babylon, Iraq. Babylon, Iraq is a heavily populated city, but you won't see any of it if you examine maps from Google Earth. Blurring this city out is, in fact, rather disrespectful. This is because there's so much history behind the area. It used to be the ancient city of Babylon that was very powerful in the 2nd millennium BC. At some point it turned into a vast empire that stretched over the most part of Western Asia. But like all other empires, it was eventually destroyed. Given this rich historical background, it's strange that the city remaining after the empire is hidden. Some people say that it could be somehow connected with the operations led by Saddam Hussein, but we can't tell for sure. All we know is that this historical tourist attraction site can be hiding something. Our next entry is the French Alternative Energies and Atomic Energy Commission. The French Alternative Energies and Atomic Energy Commissions, or CEA, is a French public government-funded research organization in the areas of energy, defense and security, information technologies, and health technologies as well. It conducts fundamental and applied research into many areas, including the design of nuclear reactors, the manufacturing of integrated circuits, the use of radionuclides for curing illnesses, seismology and tsunami propagation, the safety and computerized systems, etc., etc., etc. It also has one of the top 100 supercomputers in the world, the Terra 100. Given the sheer sensitivity of the research conducted here, security is definitely a must, so I perfectly understand why Google decided to blur this location out. Our next entry is Le Long, France. Le Long, which is French for Long Island, is a peninsula of the roadstead of Brest in the department of Finistère in the Brittany region. This island has a long history of military use. From 1914 to 1919, Le Long was used as an internment camp for German citizens captured after the seizure of the ship Nieuw Amsterdam, intercepted by the French 2nd Light Squadron on September 2, 1914. In the Second World War, during the German occupation of France, the Germans used Le Long as an anti-aircraft battery. This battery remained active until 1944. However, it's not because of its past why the island couldn't be shown on Google Earth, it's because of its present use. Since 1972, it has served as the base of the SNLE, the French ballistic missile submarines, and as such, one of the most secretive and heavily defended places in France. In 2005, a controversy broke out when it was realized that this area is clearly visible from Google Earth. But since 2018, it isn't possible anymore to view good quality satellite images of this sensitive area in most websites. Our next entry is Naval Station ROTA. Naval Station ROTA, also known as NAVSTA ROTA, is home to an airfield and a seaport. The airfield has often caused the base to be misidentified as Naval Air Station ROTA. Located in ROTA in the province of Cadiz, NAVSTA ROTA is the largest American military community in Spain, housing U.S. Navy and U.S. Marine Corps personnel. There are also small U.S. Army and U.S. Air Force contingents on the base. NAVSTA ROTA has been in use since 1953 when Spanish dictator Francisco Franco strengthened relations with the US in order to improve local economies. The installation now covers more than 6,000 acres on the northern shore of Cadiz, an area recognized for its strategic maritime importance over the centuries. Since it is one of the largest US military bases abroad in its strategic location, it's only logical to keep the place as secure and secretive as possible, even to Google's numerous cameras. Our next entry is Mount Kailash. Mount Kailash is a mountain in Tibet that is sacred to Hinduism, Bon Buddhism, and Jainism. It is believed to be the Axis Mundi, also known as the Cosmic Axis, World Pillar, Center of the World Tree, etc., etc. It is the point where heaven meets earth. Trekking all the way up to the peak of Mount Kailash is held to be a forbidden act among Hindus for the fear of trespassing the sanctity of the mountain and disturbing the divine energies residing there. But we're not talking about this mountain. It's quite visible on Google Earth, actually. No, we're talking about a spot just northwest of the mountain itself. If you look in the area, you'll see that Google decided to block part of the mountain range with a white rectangle. For no real apparent reason, actually. Buddhist and Hindu scriptures say that there exist ancient monasteries and caves around the mountains, wherein the holy sages reside in their material and subtle bodies. These caves can be seen by only a few fortunate ones, but maybe Google decided we're not worthy enough to see these mystic places. Our next entry is Baker Lake, Canada. This remote lake on Inuit country in Canada is interestingly enough hidden from Google Earth. Previously, a search on Google will result in a blurred image where Baker Lake is supposed to be. Though they do seem to have relaxed the security a bit recently, because instead of seeing an entirely blurred image, it's only parts of the lake that are blacked out now. There's an entire host of theories and questions have arisen as to whether there are extraterrestrial beacons being hidden here. The only way to truly find out is to make the pilgrimage yourself and hopefully not get escorted to another galaxy. Our next entry is THULE Air Base, Greenland. THULE Air Base is the US Armed Forces northernmost installation. It is home to the 21st Space Wing's global network of sensors providing missile warning, space surveillance, and space control to North American Aerospace Defense Command, better known as NORAD, and Air Force Space Command. Since it is a military base, there is a perfectly good reason to blur it out. However, what makes this area strange is that there's actually no sign of an airbase there when you look for it on Google Earth. That is despite the fact that the base is still in operation. You can still clearly see the runway, but the base itself is nowhere to be seen. Now it's time for today's best pick. Today's pick shows us a blacked out mountaintop. It already looks weird already, but I have an update for you that'll make everything weirder. Find out more next with Snow Saddle. This beautiful peak in the heart of the Himalayas, also known as Kantega, is another location strangely missing from the giant database that is Google Earth. There have been many wild theories from hidden cities to UFO test sites. Initially, it's just the peak of the mountain that's blacked out. But search for Snow Saddle again today, and you'll see that almost half the mountain is now blacked out. Whether it's a simple online glitch or the hiding place is something a little bit unusual, you definitely won't solve this mystery from your laptop. Before we move on, do me a favor. My analytics show that only about 15% of you watching are actually subscribed. Come on guys, what's up with that? Can you guys please hit the subscribe button? You guys watch my videos every day anyway, so you might as well subscribe and keep up to date with every video we put out. Our final entry is Area 51. I'm sure that you've all heard of Area 51. It's a highly classified area of a US military base in Nevada and a place we allegedly tried to storm. Really, it turned into more of a party. For decades, people have speculated that this facility is used by the government to experiment on aliens that have crashed to Earth and deconstruct their spaceship technology. You might not buy into those conspiracy theories, and for good reason. There's never been any factual evidence backing it up. However, Google Maps does blur the area out so people can't see it, which probably adds to the conspiracy theorist speculation. There are a lot more places that Google Earth is hiding from you, and frankly, I'm not aware of all of them. So if you know or find a place, let us know down below in the comments. You know what's not hidden though? The channel has other amazing videos, so go check them out. Also, feel free to make fun of me for not being able to pronounce French stuff. I feel bad about that. As always, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Later, everybody!